This is Times Drive. I'm Joel Pereira, and this right here is what many consider to be the finest automobile in the world. Now, if you're a prestigious German car maker, you'd have an entire stable to offer the car buying public. If you're Mercedes, you'd have an alphabet soup of the A class, the B class, the C class, all the way up to M and V. But there is one model on which Mercedes lavishes extra affection. The flagship, the best of the best, the S500. It's a car that's two things. One, it's probably the best motor car in the world. And two, it's a bit of a time machine. There's many ways of telling the future. Some people look in crystal balls, others read tarot cards. Some people try to look for the future in a bunch of tea leaves. Problem is that none of those methods are really reliable. But fortunately for us, Germany has figured out a way to predict the future accurately. Luckily, it's got wheels on it and the all-familiar 3-point star. Now, this is the car that's Mercedes' showboat, and what a boat it is. The reason I keep talking about the S-Class being a time machine is because of one simple fact that's been this car's trademark for decades. Anything you see in a brand new S-Class is the stuff you'll see in an average car 10 years from now. Now, many deride cars in this class for being nothing more than technology-packed barges for fat rich people to be ferried around in. And while that might be somewhat true, the S-Class is the car of choice for presidents and CEOs and stars of stage and screen. But there's more, so much more to this car than just comfort and a large price tag. Because under the long bonnet is a twin-turbo 4.7-litre petrol V8. Honestly, my favorite kind of petrol engine. And why do I like V8 so much? It's a bit like the Goldilocks and the porridge story. Now, some love the almost manic power from a turboed V6, but it's just too small and little too frantic for my taste. And then there's the V10 that you'd find in fire-breathing sports cars like the SLS or the R8, but then that's just too big. The 4.8-litre V8, that's what Goldilocks would choose. This sweet engine is outputting 453 brake horsepower, but more importantly, a mountain-moving 700 newtons of torque, making the way this motor responds almost dieselish. Firewall the throttle and this car does not leap as you'd expect it to. Leaping is for the unrefined. For those of pedestrian birth, this car surges majestically, pushing you deep into the comfy leather seats. Mercedes claims that 0 to 100 comes in 4.8 seconds, and honestly, we believe them. If you're unaware about 0 to 100 sprints, that would be really fast for a small two-seat sports car. For a car this large, that's seriously fast. Now, putting all that power to the road is Mercedes' world-famous, around-the-world 7-speed G-tronic gearbox. And because of the sheer number of gears involved, you will never come to a point where you run out of them. Hit the gas hard and it's almost surreal, because in a normal automatic, you see the tachometer surging upwards and then jumping down as you change a gear. But with the S500, the tach just does this little flicker as the gears shift so quickly. What you get is a constant steam engine-like flow of torque from one of the world's great V8s. And honestly, you lose track of where you are in the gearscape. Flip to S in the gear selector or take matters into your own hands and use the flappy paddle shifters mounted behind the steering. And just like that, you move from stately CEO wagon to almost sports car, all depending on how intimate you want to be with the throttle. However, honestly, most people buy the S-Class to sit in the back seat. Most people won't even care if the new S-Class was being powered by a hamster and an exercise wheel. Because if you're buying this car, you're a very rich man. And sitting exclusively in the back seat is what rich people do. Run giant financial racket? Check. Make lots of money? Check. Buy S-Class? Check. Sit in the back seat and decimate the 99%? Check and check. And if it's the S500's back seat that you will be spending a lot of time in, it doesn't get much better than this. With the adaptive air suspension and the adaptive dampers, you can't fault the ride in this car. Now, this car will float over bumps, potholes and serrations in concrete roads like it ain't nothing. And you won't hear any of the thudding that you normally get from driving over bad roads. In fact, you'll hear nothing. The superb soundproofing and the double glazed glass should take care of that. If you ever wondered what it would be like to have serious coin and what that coin would get you, this is it. Since this is the finest car in the world, every surface is covered either in highly machined metals, burnished wood, or acres of leather. Compared to other cars in this class like the Audi A8, the S-Class feels clean and uncluttered, as Mercedes have made the use of LED displays for both the instrument panel and the infotainment command system. The use of LEDs continues in the rest of the car as well, with 7 different color choices to suit your mood, with this car going from boardroom to nightclub in seconds. And then there are the seats, which exist only to serve you, contorting themselves to give you the most comfortable ride possible, and oh yeah, will even give you a massage. In the back you even have business class style stowaway tables and a pop-up footrest. You've also got a 24-speaker Burmester audio system and twin screens in the back, so that should take care of all your entertainment needs quite nicely. Now, my producer, listening on his headphones to everything I've just said about this car, has told me off camera that I sound like a 13-year-old girl talking about the new Justin Bieber song and that I should tone it down and become a little more objective. Thanks, Arun. That's good advice. Problem is, I have yet to find a flaw with this car. Sure, I could nitpick and say that handling is a little boat-like if you hit a corner hard, but really I can't. Not in good faith, because no one would ever hit a corner hard in this car. Now we've come to the end of this fun feature, and at this point, I in all my wisdom get to pass judgment on the S500. The S-Class has been called the best car in the world, and yes, for the price, which should be on the business side of ₹1 crore, performance and comfort, it probably is. Now on an ordinary day with the rest of its range, Mercedes sets out to make a good car. But the S-Class is the company's flagship, their calling card. When they set out to make one of these, they set out to make the best car possible. And compared to the older S-Class, they seem to have succeeded.